Hello, welcome everybody. This is Fernie Ceballos. So, what is up? Today's topic is how to make building your business, recruiting, enrolling, everything you got to do, social media posting, how to make all that effortless, how to basically be able to do all of that without needing to be disciplined, without needing to be pushed or motivated by somebody else. What I'm going to talk about is in the beginning, for some people, might sound like it's a little not woo woo, but it's a little kind of like intangible. For some people, the idea of vision, creating a vision or having vision, seems woo woo. But in fact, the key, I'm going to basically spill the beans right now. The key that makes building your business automatic in some people's lives and then not automatic in other people's life is actually vision. And what does that mean? Is it a woo-woo thing? Is it like, thinking about the things you want, the law of attraction? No, not really. At least that's not the way I see it. It is not, in my opinion, it is not metaphysical. It's not anything where you're calling out to the universe and it's like responding. It has everything to do with your actions, what you do every day. And what you do every day correlates to the results you produce. But if you're not consistent, then you're not going to produce the results. If you've ever heard a story of somebody who used to be rich, who used to be a millionaire, used to be successful, and they lost it all. They lost it all. They went bankrupt, something along those lines, and then they regained it back. So, have you ever heard a story of somebody that regained their wealth back after having lost it once or twice or three times? This is actually a clue for many of you. If you've never created significant wealth in your life, if you've never created massive success in your life, then this is going to be an important clue for you to kind of follow, because the reason some people succeed almost effortlessly, and even when they have some bad luck, even when they get sick, even when something happens, they make a mistake, and let's say they lose it all, like they just like oof, everything's gone. The grand majority of the time, those people that lose what they have will regain it. And the reason they regain it is because they expect to be wealthy. They expect to be successful. They expect to be rich. That is their expectation of themselves. And that's essentially the vision they have of themselves in their life. And so if circumstances somehow get in the way of that because they expect something different from where their reality is, if they were once millionaires and are accustomed to being millionaires and all of a sudden they get some bad luck, whatever happens, they go to jail, like, you hear all kinds of stories, and then they lose it. Well, their bank account might, have a small amount of money, but those people are like driven to recoup what they've lost, and they figure it out in terms of how to get back to what they once had. And it's almost automatic. You're like, yeah, they do the work. Yeah, effortless is more about the mindset, not so much about the work, because you do have to put in work to get results. But what actually is effortless is the fact that they don't have to focus and concentrate on just trying to get things done. They don't have to be disciplined. They don't have to do any of those things. They don't have to be thinking, oh, I really don't want to do this, but I got to do it because it's gonna, help me regain my money back. They don't think that way. They just do. And the reason they do that is because they have this expectation of themselves. They view themselves as one thing, but their reality is not matching it. So the reality will always be pulled to what people expect of themselves, their vision. And to give you a visual, if you've never heard of what vision means, I'm going to define it in terms that are really, really straightforward. And I'm going to borrow much of what I'm sharing from my friend Richard Brook, and he shared it for the first time in a way that I really understood it. So I really appreciate what Richard taught me. And so this is, what if you want to know what vision is, this is what vision is. Vision actually is synonymous, meaning it means the same thing as belief. What you believe. It also is synonymous, meaning they mean the same thing as expectations. So your vision equals belief equals expectations. So when you have a vision, that means you have a belief in yourself. What does it mean to believe in yourself? Well, it means you expect certain things of yourself. You expect to have a certain life. You expect to achieve certain things. You expect to be successful, and you basically don't stop until you achieve those things. You create success in your life not by wanting something. You create success in your life by expecting it. If you have those expectations of yourself, you're going to be successful. I'm going to share with you types of vision and how they sound. So what I mean by this is oftentimes we talk to ourselves in a certain way. So the question is, how do I know if my expectations of myself, my belief in myself, my mindset is sufficient towards achieving what I want. What are your goals? How do you know what the how probable it is that you'll be achieving your goals? And so the answer to that actually is, by how you talk to yourself first and foremost, how you think. An on fire or green light vision, as my friend Richard defines it, it sounds or is languaged in this way. This is how you talk to yourself if you expect and actually highly likely to achieve your goals. You speak in terms of I am this, I'm going, I'm becoming, I'm gonna, it's happening, my results are. And so that's how you speak to yourself if you are self motivated, not meaning motivation of other people, you're self motivated. This affirms who you are. So if you speak to yourself in definitive language, meaning you are definitely going to achieve whatever you set out to. Like you don't say, "I hope I achieve this." You're like, "This is what's going to happen. This is what's going to happen. Nothing is going to stop me from achieving this." Someone with a green light vision affirms and says, "I am going to achieve this. I'm going to produce this. This is what I expect of myself. It's only a matter of time." And I realized I didn't learn this until till recently, but I realized that this is ultimately the reason I achieved the results I achieve. How come I've done over almost $50 million in income online? I've been able to do it because I remember when I started, I talked to myself in this way because I was so driven. I was almost angry that my life was what it was, and I was like determined that it was not going to be that way anymore. And it was I literally remember telling myself, "This is only a matter of time." And therefore, I was willing to invest in myself. I was willing to invest in mentors. One mentor that I invested $60,000 for mentorship with a mentor. Um, and that was probably the last thing I invested in before I had the breakthrough success that I had. And I remember when I heard the opportunity to work with a seven-figure mentor, seven-figure earner in both network marketing and outside of network marketing. He was the first person that I ever seen launch any type of coaching or mentorship program. I got to basically have one call with him per month. I was able to attend 3 workshops 2 or 3 workshops that he was gonna do, and, I was gonna spend a day at his home, doing a mastermind with him, and that was what I got for $60,000 was these workshops, 1 call per month, and being able to spend a day with him. And I remember thinking to myself, "Okay, how am I gonna do this?" So notice how I talk to myself. How am I gonna do this? I didn't say, "Should I do this? Can I afford this? Is this good for me?" Like, I didn't. I just said, "How am I gonna do this?" And I moved heaven and earth to be able to make all that possible. And ultimately, what I ended up doing was getting on a payment plan with him for $5,000 a month. And I had a business credit card that had available balance of just under $8,000. And I made the first payment, and I was determined to hustle to make enough money to pay down the credit card so I make the next payment, and then hustle to pay down the credit card so I make the next payment, and so on and so forth. 9 months into that mentorship program, I produced my first not just not just six figures in a year, not just six figures in a month. I booked $700,000 in revenue for my business, like income into my bank accounts. Over $700,000 in income into my bank accounts were booked in a single month. And that was 9 months after I started this mentorship program. I didn't even expect that of myself. I didn't expect I would achieve that. I thought maybe a six-figure month, but as almost $1 million month, that was like insane. So that's what resulted, from that mentorship program. And I don't think anyone else in that mentorship program got those results. But because I had this determination, this on fire vision, the way I spoke to myself, that this is only a matter of time until I achieve my goals, that's what happened. So this is how you need to speak to yourself if you want to achieve the results you achieve, or this is how you know whether you're on track. Now, this is where it's going to get really interesting because some of you speak to yourself in this way and think it's perfectly okay. Some of you guys speak to yourself in terms of the language I want, I hope, I desire, let's wait and see, maybe one day. My goals are you would like that's crazy. Like you think having goals would actually serve you, but it actually keeps you stuck. this creates this language. When you speak to yourself in this way, it creates procrastination and it keeps you stuck. It affirms that you don't have what you want. So I want is affirming that you don't have. I hope is affirming you don't have. I desire affirms that you don't have. Even my goals are is affirming that you don't have them. And so this actually, if you speak to yourself in this way, you're forever going to be in this loop. Now, the good news about this is like it's easy to make the shift, but many of you speak to yourself in this way. I know sometimes, many times, even today, sometimes I speak to myself in this way, and I have to catch myself and I have to relanguage it. Society has taught us that this language is okay. This is what successful people say to themselves, when it's not what entrepreneurs say to themselves, successful ones. Now, and so we have to change this. Now, here's what something that is self-sabotaging, meaning it will actually can actually lead to you having less today than you have than you already have, is you use language like that's never gonna happen, I can't afford it, maybe I'm not, shit like this always happens to me, I don't know if I can, I'm not. And this affirms that you don't deserve what even you have now. So this is language that is really, really gonna not be productive for you and actually probably cause you to even regress from where you are at now. And so the question is, how do you change this? And I'm gonna tell you guys something that is gonna you're not gonna believe. That who can tell me how you change your mindset? How do you change your mindset? How do you work on your mindset? What do you need to be doing? Like what a how do you change your mindset from the outside in or from the inside out? How do you do that? Well, the answer is outside in. You can't change your mindset from the inside out. Can any one of you go inside your mind? Can you go in your brain and change something and then have the result on the outside be different? Can any of you change? Can you guys go in? No, you always have to do outside in. Even a vision board is outside in. The vision board exists in the outside. So what the action of creating a vision board or writing down your vision or writing down your plan or your strategy, all that is outside. Affirmations, you speaking to yourself is outside. You're speaking out so you can program yourself from the inside. It has to happen on the outside. Any action is not in here. Any action you take has to happen in the real world. Whether even a thought is also something you can manipulate in the real world. And so it actually is outside in. You can't change your mindset from the inside out, and that's the BS that most personal development gurus teach you. They're sabotaging you because that is actually not right. It's your actions that ultimately program you. It's your environment that programs you. So your environment and your actions is what eventually programs you to expect different things of yourself. The first thing you can do to actually start making some change is when you say it or think it, here's what you can do. You start becoming aware of what you say. First thing you got to do is you notice. So you got to notice how you're thinking, how you're speaking to yourself. You got to notice what your thoughts are, what you say to yourself, what you say to others. Huge. And then most importantly, what you do. These are like basically the 4 levels of affirmations. And so oftentimes we can't control our thoughts. Most of the time we can't control our thoughts. But we can control what we say to ourselves, we can control what we say to others, and we certainly can control what we do. But if you're running on autopilot and if you're not aware, you're going to be you're going to basically do all these things where your thoughts will align with what you say to yourself, say to others and do. And so the first thing you got to notice is, am I speaking to myself with an on fire vision? Am I speaking to myself with a procrastination vision, or am I speaking to myself in a self-sabotaging vision? And the first step of making change and starting the process of reprogramming yourself is you catch yourself and rephrase. So when you have a thought, catch yourself and rephrase it. If you find yourself saying something that's either procrastinating, like I want this, or my goals are, I hope this happens, or even something self-sabotaging to other people, well, then catch yourself and rephrase it to them and go, sorry, what I meant to say was this. What I meant to say is not that I want this. What I meant to say is this is going to happen. So if you're speaking to somebody, then you rephrase it to that person. And now what you're doing is you're saying it to yourself, you're saying it to the person, and that's what's going to begin the process of reprogramming you. Because right now, your mindset, your thoughts are spitting these things out into out of your mouth. And you got to be able to notice when that's happening, stop yourself, rephrase it, reprogram, etc. And ultimately, the thing you got to realize is the other thing, the fourth level of affirmation that's the most powerful is what you do. If you really want to achieve a six-figure income, if you want to be like all these amazing leaders in network marketing, uh, many of whom are students of ours who are omnipresent, who seem like their success is effortless. If that's what you want to be, then stop wanting it and start expecting it of yourself. And the way you start expecting it of yourself is by doing the things that they would do, investing in yourself the way you're not accustomed to investing in yourself. Take the actions that they would take, start reading the things that they would do, start doing the things that they would do. Your actions will start reprogramming you. And what you say to others, what you say to yourself will begin the process of reprogramming you. But definitely the doing is what's going to do the most. Your actions need to be consistent with what successful people do. Imagine what would happen if you were fearless and you had an opportunity to like invest with a mentor who was highly successful. You know that they have all the right information. And the only thing stopping you was your fear. You're afraid of what if I don't achieve this? What if I this? What if I don't that? What if I end up getting, what if I get into debt and can't pay my bills? What if, well, notice the language. The language is actually procrastination language. And some of it's self sabotaging. Is you're already expecting that you're going to fail. You're expecting you're not going to get the result. You're expecting that you're not going to make the most out of this opportunity. If your expectation was that you were going to crush it, that you would be the model student, that you were going to be the next six-figure success story of that mentor, how would you behave differently? Not only would you invest, but you would put in the work and take the actions to actually succeed at what it is that's being offered to you. And that's ultimately how successful people think. Every single year of my career, without exception, I've invested multiple six figures in myself and my business since I became a six-figure earner. And even before that, I was investing tens of thousands every single year before I became a six-figure earner. Is because, investing, paying money, getting into debt, that stuff didn't scare me because I expected to maximize on that investment. I expected to not only make my money back, but achieve the goals that I set out to achieve, which was a multiple of whatever I invested. Always my expectation is that. What are you going to do in the face of that fear? Because that's if you want it to eventually not be scary and actually be exciting, then you got to take the actions and you got to talk to yourself in a way that is inconsistent with your thoughts, inconsistent with your mindset, and something has to give because those things want to align. So if you don't give in terms of your actions and how do you say, what do you say to yourself, eventually your mindset will change because it wants to align with reality. It wants to align with what you say. It wants to align with what you do. So you'll be forcing your mindset and your expectations of yourself and who you are to eventually align with how you behave and what you do and what you say. And that is the key, guys. I'll leave you with this. If you've ever caught yourself in a situation where, let's say you're really busy, life is busy, and you have 5 minutes to to spare, like as a break from your work, from your family, you just have 5 minutes to yourself. What you do with those 5 minutes will say everything about what your vision is. What you do in your free time says everything about what your vision is. Do you choose to invest that time, especially if you have not achieved your financial goals? Do you invest those 5 minutes working on your business and are excited to do it and you look forward to do it? It's almost effortless, it's automatic. Or do you procrastinate? Or do you just like close your eyes? Or do you like turn on Netflix? Or do you scroll social media? What do you do with those 5 minutes when you're extremely busy, haven't made the progress in your business, but you got 5 minutes to yourself? What do you do with those 5 minutes? That'll tell you everything. How do you make change? Well, you start doing something different with those 5 minutes, even if you don't feel like it, because eventually what you do will catch up with how you feel. How you feel is who you are. Attraction marketing was born here. And our vision is to transform network marketing so that 90% of network marketers are doing attraction marketing and truly old school strategies become something of the past and become extinct. So that's it, guys. Take care.